Well, Alan Dershowitz is a very strange person, isn't he? Back in the day, he was almost comedy looking, and he used that. He really did look like a clown. He back in the 70s, he had this mad hair that was just like over the top, and he's not the most handsome looking fella. So you know, what he lacked in looks and stuff, he made up for in being a bit flamboyant, and that got him lots of attention. You know, he came up in my GMF article. I can't remember how he came up, but if you go through past cases, he's always there, like at really important points of history, being a commentator, and sometimes being involved on the ground. So Alan Dershowitz had like many people in this legal realm, had lots of associations with some very powerful people. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, and this is hard because Alan Dershowitz isn't my area of expertise at all. I'm more like a lot of what I understand. Oh man, I know quite a lot because my partner's Whitney. Like, you know, I know quite a lot about, and I go through a lot of this stuff. But trying to find things that make sense in this world means you're looking in places where Alan Dershowitz doesn't exist. Because Alan Dershowitz was a lawyer for many years. He was quite
wasn't he Princeton or Harvard? One of those prestigious.
I think he's Harvard. I think he's Harvard because that's why he comes up in the GMF article. I believe he was doing something at Harvard. I believe. There was some sort of protest going on. It's hard to remember because, like I say, I said to you before we were recording, I think I take in so much information on a daily basis that a lot of the time, like minor details are pushed out.
Don't worry about it.
Dershowitz, he was involved with Wexner for a while, if I remember correctly, and he was
he represented O.J. Simpson. He's represented
yeah. Really. I mean, he all of the advertisements, all of the different things that he did in making himself this personality in the 70s and 80s paid off for him, and he got lots of big cases, and he did lots of big, and he's a character. He is a character. He was a character, but he became Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer and friend. Was constantly. I mean, Dershowitz would get to use Jeffrey Epstein's plane alone. Yeah. So with no one else on it, and that's a really, like, you know, there's only a couple of people that he would send to the plane to go pick up and send over to here and go over to there, and that was something that was really noticeable about Dershowitz. Is his relationship with Epstein was not like any of the other relationships you had around with him, and they were obviously closer than just like, you know, legal. I think, if I remember, Dershowitz defended Wexner, and was it Wexner or was it a load of mob guys up in Canada, up in Montreal as well? It's like a load of cases, and it was like murders and stuff, and it's all really dark and shady. But he's got one hell of a past. Yeah. I mean, we all do to an extent, but the question became whether or not, seeing as he was so close and he had this such tight-knit relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, whether or not he abused that relationship, or he abused children and young girls through that relationship more than anything. And you know, there was Virginia Giuffre, who's one of the main named victims. There's something about the Epstein case that people should understand, if they don't understand, is that a lot of the victims are not named. They had very different experiences than a lot of the named victims. A lot of the named victims are named because they cannot remain unnamed, because they were so intimately involved in Epstein's business. So Virginia Giuffre worked for it's like basically you could say the lead victim in most cases. She was employed by.
How do you feel about Virginia, man? Because I go back and forth. If I'm being 100% honest, sometimes I hate to say this because it sounds bad, but sometimes I wonder if she's full of shit, man, and she's a well poisoner. You know what I'm saying? And I hate saying that. I don't feel good about saying that. It's just I get that gut feeling every now and then.